At 6:42, now to the legal landscape. Our legal analyst, attorney Dan Adams, joins us every Monday to break down the biggest cases happening across Wisconsin and the country. Dan, good morning to you. It's a big week in federal court here in Milwaukee. All eyes on jury selection Thursday and Friday in Hannah Dugan's federal trial, case that could have national implications here. Jury selection has been a major point of debate in the lead up to this trial. So walk us through what this process will look like in federal court.
Hey, good morning. Yes, so Thursday and Friday, so they're ending the week with jury selection, Judge Adelman in federal court. First, I think it's suffice to say trials don't happen a lot in federal court. In the Eastern District of Wisconsin, there's about 6 trials every year. So this is an unusual thing just as it goes. In federal court, the judge takes over and asks all of the questions. You know, we're used to seeing in state court, the attorneys taking the lead, and one side takes the questions and then the other. Here in federal court, Judge Adelman will ask every single question to these jurors. And you know, again, he's not a party to the case, so his questioning is a little more sanitized, as it will, to these potential jurors. The parties have to sit back and listen to what those answers are. Sometimes they can suggest that the judge asks some follow-ups. The judge himself will ask his own follow-ups. But for the most part, this is very judge-oriented. They've also got questionnaires that have been sent to the jurors beforehand. That'll have a lot of the same information. And the parties have this beforehand. And so they've been creating their kind of rubric, also doing some social media scrapes of these potential jurors, maybe some other investigation to try to get their hands around who these people on the panel might be. But for the most part, jury selection in federal trial goes very fast. And while they have Thursday and Friday allotted to this process, may happen just on Thursday, given how fast these things tend to move in federal court.
Yeah, you kind of hinted to it there, just with the differences between this being in federal court and not state court, because jury selection, as we know, break down if it's more of an art or science. It really depends on what court you're in.
Yeah, really, it's a lot of perseverance and preparedness and work on the front end. I guess that's the science of it. Who is my demographic that I want on this jury, that both parties are thinking, you know, but really, who do I not want on the jury? Jury selection is really a misnomer because when the attorneys are asking questions, they're looking essentially for bias, you know, one way or towards the government or towards more of the defense point of view. And both sides have a limited number of deselections. We call them strikes. And so jury selection really is a misnomer. It's deselection of the people on the jury that we really would rather not have there within that limited number of strikes. A lot of people think that it's more of an art form, but that's in state court when you're trying to get a rapport going. You're trying to introduce the themes of your case, trying to get the jury to start talking, having a conversation among themselves. There's some art to that. So really, it's just a lot of common sense as well as diligence by the attorneys in court.
Yeah, jury selection set to start Thursday with the trial starting next Monday. Hannah Dugan has pleaded not guilty to the charges against her. Dan, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next Monday for more of the legal landscape.